We all have viewpoints. We have viewpoints about politicians, police, priests, bishops, religious, sisters, fathers, children, parents, society, everyone. We have viewpoints. Suppose two people meet together and they express their viewpoints. If they are opposite viewpoints, there will be conflict and there will be sometimes breaking of relationships. If my viewpoints are not accepted, there will be a kind of feeling of depression in the self or feeling of rejected. So viewpoints, if they are different among people, especially in families when we have discussions, or in religious communities when you have or workplaces, when the viewpoints are different, there will be likely to be conflicts and frictions among people. This is very natural. Viewpoints, what is my viewpoint of life, viewpoint of people, that determines my behavior, my way of dealing with the people, etc. Now I said this to highlight one area of today's gospel. Two people's viewpoints conflicting there, but it did not have towards the end real conflict because of certain way they dealt with each other. So we can avoid conflicts if we learn the way Peter did this. Now Peter was a fisherman, Jesus a rabbi, a master, a teacher. Both their professions are different. They have not met before much, at least in the Gospels we see they are meeting for the first time, and they must have heard, or Peter must have heard, Jesus was a teacher and master, that's all, a religious teacher. Now a religious teacher telling a fisherman where to fish, it looks foolish actually. What does Jesus, according to Peter, at the most his profession is carpentry, son of a carpenter. What does carpenter know about fishing? And Peter, who had been in the sea and very much associated with the fishing and sea and all that, they know where to fish, they know how to fish, and they know that whole day and night they could not get any fish because that may not be the season. Fishermen know. So the viewpoints are different, and if somebody says, you go and fish there, who is he to tell Peter about fishing profession? Suppose somebody tells me, this is not the way to celebrate Mass. There is a saying in my own mother tongue, don't teach the Pope how to celebrate Mass. Means that is his profession, that is his vocation to celebrate Mass, and he knows. So suppose I tell somebody who dances, that is not the way to dance. There is another way. I don't know how to dance, and the way the certain types of dances are done. So we who are in particular profession may not know all the other skills and professions. This is where viewpoints change. But there was no conflict here. Why? Because there is a way Peter dealt with this viewpoint. When Jesus told, go and fish somewhere else into the deep waters, in the beginning Peter resisted. No, we have fished all over this sea, and what do you know about fishing? But Peter took another stand immediately. What is that? First stage he took was he listened to Jesus. Even though this Jesus is a carpenter, he may not know much and he does not know anything about fishing. Let me listen what he says. That's the first stage. Many of us will not do that. When we have a kind of interaction with others, their viewpoints may be different. Their viewpoints may be foolish. But listen. That's the first thing. And Peter listened. That's the first thing he did. With an open mind. He says something different from my own way. And he does not know much about this profession, but he gives some idea. So he listened first. Second thing, he obeyed. That means He obeyed and did what Jesus said. It can look foolish. Okay, let me go and put that net there. It is foolish thing for Peter actually. How many of us will do such foolish things listening from another person who is not in my competence, or according to me, not a competent person to demand or command me? So this is what Peter did to a stranger like Jesus, according to him. He does not know much about Jesus. He told him to go and fish, and he did it, obeyed. And that miracle is fruit of that obedience. And the third stage is the most important stage. Once you listen and obey each other, you recognize yourself well. Peter recognized himself in front of that stranger, and he said, I am a sinful person. You are a holy person. See the recognition of each other. Very beautiful at the end. This is all because he started to listen and started to obey. Then he began to recognize himself. This can happen even in our own lives. If we listen, obey, and recognize each other well. One of the persons who really care for the sick is Mother Teresa, whose feast we are going to celebrate within 2 days on 5th. Mother Teresa is also associated with looking after poor, sick, suffering, elderly, the lonely, etc. And one of her quotations is this, is a good viewpoint. Good viewpoint we can take up. She says, find your own Kolkata. This is Kolkata where I am standing. Don't come to Kolkata to see the sick here alone. She says, find your own Kolkata. Find the sick, find the suffering and the lonely there right where you are. Find your own Kolkata, find the suffering, sick and the lonely, right the place where you are. You can find. So just open your eyes and look and listen and see around. Your viewpoint, if you change, you will find people around you suffering and lonely. And that is our viewpoint if you really open our mind and listen first.